Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're acting as the architects of a specialized model goldmine. If you've been paying attention to the AI space at all lately, you know the ground is literally shifting beneath our feet right now as we head into 2026. We're talking about a massive, urgent shift. We are officially moving away from the era of quick hacks and stepping into an era of deep, structural value. So let's get right into it and see exactly what this transformation actually looks like.
Here's a question that should frankly keep every single tech consultant and agency owner awake at night. What actually happens when massive foundation models become completely commoditized? Seriously, think about it. We're hitting a point where having access to a powerful AI model, that's no longer a unique advantage. It's just the baseline. When everyone has access to the exact same massive foundation models, well, those models naturally lose their edge in professional consulting. If your whole business relies on just hitting an API that literally anyone else on the planet can ping, your competitive moat is vanishing. Fast. Which brings us to a pretty harsh but absolutely necessary reality.
The death of generic AI. It's over. The era of generic AI is officially behind us. If your business model involves, slapping a simple user interface onto a public API, or if you're leaning on hourly automation consulting to get by, you are rapidly losing your competitive advantage. The market has matured. Clients do not want basic generalized text generation anymore. They want highly targeted solutions that actually understand the deep, messy nuances of their specific industry. Relying on generic AI in 2026, it's basically like bringing a butter knife to a sword fight. You absolutely need a better weapon.
So, we're really looking at a tale of two entirely different business models here. On one side, you have the ephemeral software wrapper. This is public code, it's easily replicated, it's incredibly vulnerable to unpredictable updates from the big foundation model providers, and honestly, it's just exhausting to defend. Now, on the other side, the cash-flowing IP asset. This represents defensible, private intellectual property. Building easily replaced public code is a losing strategy, plain and simple. The winning strategy is pivoting from a service-based agency into a model-based intellectual property powerhouse. So how exactly do we make that leap?
Well, that brings us to Section 1, Building Your Private Engine, from public code to industry logic. It is time to stop renting the land and start mining the gold.
Think of all those massive, underutilized open-source repositories out there as just raw land. To find actual wealth in that land, you have to start by pinpointing niche structural inefficiencies. We're talking about really dense sectors, places like logistics, the legal field, or renewable energy. These are sectors burdened with highly specific, really complex operational logic. Your goal here is to pinpoint those exact inefficiencies and build localized models that can easily outperform generic GPT-5 or Claude 4 instances. Why? Precisely because they are hyper-specialized for these exact environments. This approach didn't just appear overnight, though.
This industry has evolved at absolute lightning speed. Think back to the past. The dominant model was hourly consulting, right? Selling one-off automation scripts. And honestly, it was a trap. You were constantly trading your time for money. Then we get to the present, which has been totally dominated by generic wrappers. But as we just established, those are ephemeral and they are dying. The future, which, by the way, is already here in 2026, belongs entirely to deploying specialized IP engines. Look, selling a one-off script completely limits your growth. But owning the specialized weights, the actual trained parameters of the AI, that means you own the engine itself. But to build that engine, you're going to need the right raw materials.
If the open source models are the raw land we talked about, then exclusive industry datasets, those are your pickaxe. You've got to source, clean, and organize data that's sitting behind corporate firewalls or just buried in offline archives. We're talking about data that the massive foundation models simply haven't crawled. They haven't seen it. If you can wrangle this exclusive, super messy data, you possess the raw material required to fine-tune your weights and create a truly localized model. And once you have that localized model, you actually have to sell it, right?
That takes us to Section 2, the high-ticket bridge, shifting the pricing power. Let's look at how we transform from a traditional service agency to a deployer of permanent, specialized model architectures. Enter the digital subject matter expert. Now, this isn't just another SaaS tool. No, it is a permanent, specialized model architecture that is integrated securely and directly into a corporate client's private cloud. You are no longer selling a standard $20 a month subscription. You are effectively dropping a digital expert right into the very core of their business infrastructure. An expert trained exclusively on their industry's logic and protected by their own security perimeters. It's a total game changer.
And this transforms your entire financial reality.
You're bridging the gap from exhausting, low-margin, hourly billing over to highly leveraged proprietary efficiency. You're no longer billing for the hours it takes a developer to, bang out a script, which is a massive relief for anyone tired of tracking billable minutes, right? Instead, you are billing for the permanent, compounding efficiency that your localized model brings to their enterprise.
The rule here is simple, but man, is it profound. The pricing power shifts when you charge for the proprietary efficiency of the weights, not the hour. I'm going to say that again because it's so critical. You charge for the proprietary efficiency of the weights, not the hour. This is the massive financial impact of this pivot. Your fine-tuned weights are the actual gold. When you charge for the output and the efficiency of those weights, your earning potential is completely 100% decoupled from your time. You're selling a result, backed by exclusive intellectual property. But having that property means you really need to guard it. Which brings us to Section 3, engineering defensible AI assets. Because creating the model is great, sure, but creating a moat around it, that is how you survive and ultimately scale.
Here's the deal. Private equity firms are aggressively hunting for niche AI right now. But let's be entirely honest with ourselves, they aren't writing massive checks for clever prompts or a really sleek user interface. No way. They demand verified data moats. They are buying exclusive access to proprietary data pipelines that competitors just cannot easily replicate. If someone else can replicate your pipeline over a weekend hackathon, you are virtually invisible to serious investors. You have to prove your asset is locked down.
To actually maintain that moat, you have to engage in what we call model hardening. This involves specific strategies designed to ensure your proprietary engine remains entirely unique, even as the open-source baselines inevitably evolve and improve. Because, when GPT-6 or Claude 5 eventually drops, your model absolutely needs to hold its value. And it does this because your specialized, fine-tuned weights contain industry-specific logic and data nuances that a generalized, broader update simply cannot overwrite or replace. But it forces a pretty tough look in the mirror.
So ask yourself honestly right now. Are you building an ephemeral wrapper or a defensible asset? Seriously, is your business built to last, or is it destined to be completely wiped out by the very next major open source update? If you aren't hyper-focused on exclusive data and fine-tuned weights, you're building a house on borrowed land. It is time to start laying a permanent foundation.
To help you build that foundation, we arrive at our final section, your 2026 monetization roadmap. Let's look at the highly actionable framework to actually execute this pivot today, without needing the billion-dollar compute budgets of the big tech giants.
The game plan here is straightforward, but it's incredibly powerful. Step 1. Source that private, uncrawled industry data. Step 2. Use it to fine-tune open models, literally injecting specific industry logic directly into the weights. Step 3. Deploy on-premise to guarantee total security for your clients. And finally, Step 4. Don't stop at 1. Scale that single engine into a massive intellectual property portfolio. Oh, and by the way, that deployment step, that is a massive selling point.
Because corporate clients are absolutely terrified of generic public clouds. Data leakage, privacy concerns, a total lack of control. For them, these are non-negotiable deal breakers. But by deploying your specialized models directly onto their secure, on-premise servers, you instantly eliminate those privacy fears. You mitigate their risk, which frankly effortlessly justifies your high-ticket price tag. They get all the power of AI without the paranoia of their data training someone else's model.
Now repeat this process across different niches, and you reach the ultimate endgame. You are no longer running on that exhausting consulting treadmill. Instead, you've engineered a highly attractive acquisition target. You're scaling these niche engines into a really robust portfolio of high-value industry assets primed and ready for a lucrative private equity exit. Why? Because you own the exact proprietary efficiency the market is desperately searching for.
Which leaves us with one final thought to wrap up our explainer today. By 2026, will you be selling your time or your weights? Think about it. The generic AI era is dead. The goldmine of specialized models is wide open right now for those willing to do the deep work of sourcing private data and engineering truly defensible assets. The choice is completely yours. Thanks for joining me on today's explainer. Now get out there and go examine your data moats.